Welcome everyone. Today I'm kind of just messing around. I'm struggling with what am I going to do with all of these experiments that I'm messing around with. So I thought instead of just throwing them in a drawer or throwing them in the trash, I'd run through a bunch of them and kind of show you what I've been working on. I think as most artists starting out, I'm not really happy with most of this stuff. It's just experimenting and messing around and trying new things and seeing where I land. And I think every piece that I do, I think I learn a little bit, and I take that to the next piece, and I take that to the next piece, and keep going from there. So I don't know. I thought I'd show you real quick here some of the things I've been working on lately, and I don't know, see what you think. Some of it I like, most of it I don't, but here we go. It's a sketch piece, just kind of trying out different colors. Nothing real exciting. This is a piece of collage and acrylic paint. I did some jelly printing on this too to get some of these textures. Turned out pretty cool. This one is just drawing with a little bit of colored pencil. I like these, I don't know, when I sit and watch TV with my wife at night and I just like to draw and just do something that doesn't require a lot of thought or pressure. So I draw these things with these different shapes and stuff. A little collage and paint, nothing real exciting. Strip of collage there with the paint, kind of filling it in. Jelly printing piece again. This one I have multiple of these and I'm not happy with either one of them. I kind of like some of the stuff that's going on in here, some of the scratching, and there's some collage underneath here. These people kind of turned out kind of silly, trying to make just simple human shapes and stuff, and I don't know. It's interesting, I guess. Here's some studies that I just did with messing around with the paint. Just starting out with basic still life, playing around with colors and shadows and just mixing the paint really and putting it on the board. Some of these aren't really done, but I don't know if I'll get back to them or if they're just an experiment. This is a little bit of collage with, probably goes that way. A bit of collage and paint and scratching. This one was kind of inspired by the cold outside. Putting down a warm color and then putting down a cool color on top of it and then kind of scratching into it. Same thing with this one. Inspired by the cold and snow with just a little warm undertone popping through there through the scratches. That one's not great. Not even happy with that one. Here's another Christmas collage one that I messed around with. This is all jelly printed paper, tore up into shapes, and then painted over in various different ways. Turned out pretty cool. I may mess with that more in the future. This paper just loves to curl up. It's one thing I don't love about, I love this thinner paper, but keeping it flat irritates the crap out of me. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that. I've been working on some more of these like heavy boards that keep it from curling up like that, which I like. I just really like the smoother texture of some of these papers. Collage with drawing, painting over top of it, just messing around with stuff. I don't know, it's kind of cool, I guess. This one I'm messing around with some manipulated images. This is actually my grandfather, an old picture of him that I put in the computer and manipulated. This is stuff that I drew and then photocopied, and then I'll put everything down on as collage and then paint it over top of it with different layers, and it's interesting. I like the combination of all the digital and the photography and the drawing and the collage and the paint all together. And I'm not sure exactly how I want to do that in the future, but I like that idea of combining all these different ideas into one piece. All these little pieces here, bits of collage and stuff. Here's another one of those that I did. I painted this one and that other one that looks similar together in a series. I don't like this one at all. This lady looks like she's pregnant. Some of the scratching stuff is cool though. I like these shapes and the colors showing through, bits of collage, and I don't know, it's interesting. It's one of those things, like sometimes all those little scratches and stuff turn out little happy miracles, and then other times it's just, it's kind of boring. Out through, I don't know, trying to combine different ideas. There's some drawing underneath here that was from some collage. Interesting. This is an attempt to do, this is a jelly print collaged on here, and then I drew over top of it with these different shapes again. Like I said, I like to just kind of sit and watch TV with my wife at night and kind of zone out. So that's kind of the result there. I may go back here and kind of tone that down a little bit and see if I can get it to marry a little bit with that a little bit more. I don't know. It's another simple study. Nothing real exciting. This is kind of silly. It almost looks like, I don't know, somebody in 5th grade drew it or something. Just trying to combine the painting with the drawing aspect of it, and I just kind of drew whatever came out. It's interesting, I guess. Playing around with these pieces that are kind of jelly printed, and then cutting them up into pieces and stuff and trying to collage them into something that is like a basic landscape. It's pretty obvious what it is, but you know, it's kind of interesting. I don't love this paper. It fights me all the time especially when you're putting a lot of glue and stuff on it. I don't know. Kind of like it. Kind of don't. More collage and jelly printing. I like this. It's just there's, I don't know. Not sure what you guys think. It's interesting. It's kind of cool. Some of these pieces and parts that you get out of the jelly printing that you would probably never paint are kind of interesting. And I like the idea of being able to take a piece of something that's like really cool and another piece and combine that into one really nice thing that works together. I'm not sure this does, but that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. Kind of interesting. Everything's interesting, I guess. It's a couple pieces. This was part of a larger piece that I then kind of cut out some of the most interesting parts. Let's see if I have where is my border? Let's set those aside. Again, messing around with a little collage here. This is what looks like leaves and stuff back here is a jelly print. It's kind of cool, and then I painted over it with different layers and stuff, and then put this piece of photography on here and painted it. I don't know. I kind of like it. I kind of feel like it's cheating and it's not the direction I'm going to go in the future, but just experimenting. It's kind of cool with the textures and stuff. There's a random abstract piece that was bits of collage and jelly printing, and then I went and did stuff over top of it, just creating kind of echoing these various different layers of circles and shapes and stuff. It's kind of neat. Try to do a few. I kind of did like the dominant colors yellow, and then I have this purple, blue, purple, purple stuff that's kind of more of my focal point color, spice colors as they say. So that's what I'm trying to do there. It's my color scheme. There's a little more of that jelly printing and collage. This piece is pretty cool and successful. This was a picture that I took in California, manipulated it in the computer, and then jelly printed on top of it. That was a jelly print that really kind of looked like clouds and stuff. And I liked it. Thought that was just an interesting piece there. Pretty successful. This thing is pure just messing around. I was messing around with paint, and I don't know if there's collage under this or not, but just messing around with a palette knife and scratching into it and trying different layers and colors. And I did a wash over this whole thing to kind of unify it. And then I went back in and started drawing these little shapes and stuff. It's not successful, but it's interesting, I think. I think all this stuff is kind of interesting at some level, whether it's exciting or if it's, you know, something you want to hang on your wall or not. I don't know, but I kind of like these little shapes. I have this app. It's you can look at the constellations and stuff on the app, and you can hold it up and move it in different places, and like some of the constellations move below the horizon line on the app depending on where you're trying to look and stuff. So that was kind of the inspiration of what was going on there. Yeah, and I like this idea of combining different things. So just that idea of drawing over things, I kind of like. Hopefully you can see this without being too shiny. A lot of these are already kind of, I put some gloss sealant on these things just to keep them protected. So this was all collage, and then I painted over everything and then went back and drew on it to kind of create some of this line energy. It turned out pretty cool, I guess. I really like this text in the background and stuff. I don't know, I may experiment more with that in the future. Simple landscape. Sometimes things don't have to be too complicated to be successful, and I want to kind of try to push towards that a little bit more in the future. I think some of the most successful paintings are some of the most simple. It's just about capturing a feeling. I like that one. Definitely going to explore that more in the future. It's a little more collage combined with some of the pieces that I drew some of these shapes, photocopied them, cut them apart, ripped them, colored them in again. I don't know if this is successful or not, but it's interesting. I love that word, interesting. Let's see how this, so the dominant color here is kind of this darker blue and stuff. So then my focal point was a little more of the complement, the reds and the oranges and stuff there. I guess it would be a little more like that. Here's more random stuff. Just took some paint and stuck it on the page in an interesting way, and then went back and drew on it. I don't know. It's interesting to look at. Here's another one. Something about this one I like. I'm not completely happy with it. I'm not sure I like just the stark white dots and stuff, but it's cool. I'm afraid to touch it because I like it. It's one of those things, once you get it to a point where you like it, you're afraid to mess it up. So I might just call it a win and stick this on the wall for a while, look at it. It's interesting to see some of the brushwork here and then the more fine dots and stuff. I don't know, it's kind of interesting and cool. I like it. This one's random, just a random abstract piece. I may go back in this and simplify it more in the future, but there's some bunch of jelly printed collage underneath here. I went back in and pieced it together and then painted over it. It's very busy, so I would like to simplify it, but I don't know, we'll see. I gotta keep moving forward. There's another one of my grandfather, jelly printed collage in the back and photo. Well, no, actually that was a photocopy of a photo that I took that I thought was interesting. And then just painted over it, collage this in, painted over him. I don't know if I love this style of collage and the photo stuff, but I like this picture because it's my grandpa. Some of the stuff in the background is really interesting. Some more little small pieces, abstract. I did all 4 of these in one sitting, one evening, and I just kind of felt like I had traveled to all kinds of different places. Again, I'm not sure if you can see that. I'll try and zoom in here. That one's pretty successful. I like that one. I'd like to see that blown up to a large one. The simple landscape. I really like some of these layers in the background here, and some of these red highlights are popping through. It's interesting. I gotta quit saying that word. This one's kind of cool. I like the large grouping of shapes kind of just converging into the focal point there. Some of these highlighted areas. Again, I would love to see this at a larger size, so I may experiment with this more in the future. These are 6 by 6, so they're really small little studies. But there's a lot going on in that little space. It's another simple one, just messing around with the palette knife and various different layers and scraping and scratching and trying to get, I don't know. I like this idea of laying, like this one I laid down a very solid bright color of orange and then painted over it and started scraping into it and painting over and removing things, and I think it turned out pretty cool. It's a little too busy here, but pretty cool. Here's this one. I am probably not going to go in this direction just because I like painting things that don't stress me out, and painting faces and humans and real things. I think I'm finding as I'm trying to discover my style, it all just kind of stresses me out. So yeah, this is mildly successful, but could be better. Here's my mat. So in these, I was kind of just going in and kind of moving around and trying some different things. That's kind of interesting. So eventually I'll zero in on these things and put them in a mat probably and kind of see where I land. This one I posted on my website, or on Instagram, I should say. I like these little pieces. I like the idea of creating one big painting and just being able to slosh stuff around and then going back into the pieces and parts that you really like and making small little creations. Same kind of thing with this. This isn't the most successful thing, but it's kind of cool. It's got some interesting bits in it. It's almost like, it's not quite straight. It's like there's a water with a dock running out with some sort of lighthouse or something in a storm, and I don't know, this is a direction I'd like to explore more, I think. Just this abstract landscape that has some sort of structure to it in the real world. It isn't just paint thrown on a page, and you're kind of left up as the viewer to decide what you think is cool about it or what you think it is. I like that. I don't love paintings that are just random. I mean, I get it, you know, but I like it to have some sort of place in the real world, at least right now. This is another painting that I was working on, a larger thing, and I was like, man, that area there is really cool. I'm just going to chunk that out there. I think that's, where's my ruler? I don't know where my ruler, oh, here it is. Yep, that's 8 by 8. I thought that was really successful. I like all the cool colors, the warm colors, the scratching into it, the different layers. It's pretty cool. It's another piece of the same painting. This one isn't quite as successful, but horizon line, it's interesting. That one's definitely better. Here's another one. I like this much better than that sister one that I just showed you. Crop that in there, something like that. I love these different areas of just different things that are kind of together there. Like, I don't know what that is or what this thing is in the distance, or what that is along the horizon line, but it's super interesting. Even these little bits, like, what is that? It's cool. These are scratching this way, and this one's swirling, and that one's kind of crazy, and then there's just one line down here, and this one's scratching with paint, and then there's some texture back in here. I love all that stuff, and I think it tells us some sort of story to the viewer. What the heck is going on here? So I'd like to do more stuff, I think, like this in the future. This is the kind of stuff that, I don't know, creates flow. I just get in the zone and I don't have to stress out about, oh man, does that really look like what I'm trying to paint? Does it look like a real human? Does that look like anything? You know, it's all about the mood and the emotion and the motion and the colors, and just kind of leaving it up a little bit to the viewer, I think, of what this really is. It's weird to say, this little thing is like one of my most successful paintings lately. And I think it's a good step forward to where I think I'd like to go. Although that changes on a daily basis, so who knows? Almost done. These two pieces were just kind of random last night. I was cleaning up my workspace, and I normally put this paper down when I'm painting, just as if it really matters, but it just gives me like a clean place to focus on what I'm doing and not have junk all over the place. So this was the paper that I had done a bunch of paintings on, and the random bits that were left over from the palette. So I cut that apart and just collaged it together. This is probably like 2 or 3 different pieces here. This one has a piece chunked in here, a piece in there, a piece in there. So just, I don't know. It's not crazy art, anything you'd hang on the wall. Maybe you would, I don't know. But I thought it was kind of cool to just take something that you would just throw in the trash a lot of times and make something out of it. So I'm going to probably try and do more of that in the future. So I think that's all I got today. I mean, as you can see, I'm going in about 100 different directions, trying different things, and I don't know what to do with all this stuff. I don't know if I love putting this junk into a sketchbook. I don't like the way the paper buckles. I mean, paper is just all over the place. Oh, here's another one. Another little piece that I this was jelly printed, collaged together, and then I drew over it, and then I went back in and touched it up with some paint and stuff. So it's kind of interesting exploring that. There's another one. Jelly print with drawing and paint over top of it. I mean, I kind of like doing these little things in the sketchbook. Man, I really don't. I just like a good hard flat surface. This one goes this way. There's another one inspired by the cold outside. Might be cool to crop in on these in an interesting way. Make a little 6x6 out of it. Again, just trying to put down different layers and then cover it up and then scratch into it and just kind of see some of the interesting things that come out of it. So that's what I got. This is longer than I thought it was going to be. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and I'll consider doing more of these in the future, and I'll let you know what I decide to do with all this stuff. Have a good one.